Good evening. Welcome to LoveLogical, DNA Not Required. This is Michelle L. Anderson, coming to you live from PodcastDetroit, Royal Oak Studios. We are looking forward to intriguing and entertaining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let me start today's show by saying thank you for joining our family, which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA Not Required. Good evening, everyone. This is Michelle L. Anderson coming to you live. First, I would like to say thank you for joining us this evening. I appreciate your support. I also appreciate Marvin Romel for allowing me the exclusive use of his music for all of my podcasts. Tonight, I have joining me as my co-host, my daughter, Janelle Anderson.
Hi.
And I have a spectacular guest, as always. I have Rochelle M. Morton.
Hello.
Michelle is joining us on behalf of Damsel in Defense. I keep wanting to say distress. So Damsel in Defense, as well as someone who decided to get out there and make a change when it came to our government and legislature here in Michigan. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. How are you this evening?
I am well.
Okay, she came in here all dressed up, y'all, you know.
I just came from work. I'm sorry.
You look very nice this
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
Okay, one of the things that attracted me to Rochelle, that made me want to invite her here, is she was talking about the different ways that women can protect themselves when they're out there on their own. And I have a 17-year-old daughter who's driving. So those of you who didn't know, yes, Janelle is all over the place now. And I worry about her being out at night. So when I noticed that Damsel in Defense had all these wonderful products, as well as purses and just different gadgets. And yes, those who know me know I'm a gadget person. I like gadgets. And I saw these different gadgets, and I said, I have to have her on my show because she could teach me and my daughter different ways that we can protect ourselves when we're out and about. But most importantly, she could teach you and yours. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Damsel in Defense.
Okay, so I got involved with Damsel in Defense almost 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
And I got involved because I did not want to carry a lethal weapon. I didn't want to carry a firearm, but I wanted something to be able to protect myself. And so I just happened to be going through Facebook like most of us do. And one of my friends who lives in another state was she had posted something on Facebook about some products that she was selling,
Mm-hmm.
and how she had overheard a conversation between some real estate agents, and that they didn't want to carry guns either, but in the real estate community, for those who are in it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's extremely dangerous when you're showing a home to a stranger. You're kind of at their mercy, and if you don't have anything on you to protect yourself, you can be in a lot of trouble, and a lot of real estate agents don't make it home. And, that's not necessarily widely reported, but it is a very true statistic. And so she shared with them these products. And, so she mentioned things like, pepper spray and stun guns. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew what pepper spray was, but I had no idea what a stun gun was.
Really?
But I had no clue. But I knew that once I talked to her and she explained what it was, I was like, well, I want those things. Those
Yes.
are things that I think would, benefit me here in Michigan. And so she told me, we have lots of things with Damsel in Defense
Mm-hmm.
that would benefit you. Unfortunately, the two things that you want are restricted in Michigan. So most of the other states in the country can have these things, but Michigan is one of the restricted states. So there are lots of other things I can tell you about, and you can, feel free to shop with me and get those things, or, get them at a discount, and I'll talk to you about how to do that.
So
Because
what's restricted in Michigan? What was restricted?
At the time, the pepper spray and the stun guns were restricted in Michigan. In Michigan, in particular for the pepper spray, the law does at that time did allow us to carry pepper spray, but it was limited to 10% oleoresin capsicum, and that's the pepper ingredient that gives the heat that the intended target will feel when it comes to the burning sensation.
Okay.
And but the federal legal limit for that ingredient is 18%, and so most of the other country is fine with 18%. Whatever the federal government says,
Right.
that's fine. But Michigan was one of the few states that said, I think 10% is good, and so I was like. 10% it's something. It's better than nothing. But I want what everybody else has in these other states, and
She
it doesn't
to burn
make
their
sense.
eyes out.
So, when I figured out that I could at least, somehow get a hold of this stronger pepper spray, it still bothered me that not only, did I have to go in a roundabout way to get it, but that it was still illegal. And it's something that shouldn't be illegal because it's non-lethal, but it's something that will help keep us safe if we know how to use it properly and at least use it as a deterrent to kind of ward off a criminal from the next attack that he or she may be thinking that they're going to commit against somebody that typically might be a soft target, but I consider myself a hard target at this point. So, but in order for everybody else to have that 18% pepper spray, I looked at, maybe it would be easier just to change the law in the city that I live in Detroit, but that's not good enough. The entire state needs protection, and so that's when I sought out to change both the pepper spray and the stun gun laws.
Okay, and you went through a lot to make sure that this was changed for our benefit. And everyone, after the broadcast, you can actually go on my Facebook pages and you could see the link. So kind of explain what you had to go through just to make this change and how long it took you to do it.
So it took. I started out working on both of the laws, and when I started out, I had no clue anything. I had never even been to Lansing. That's thing number one. Hadn't been to Lansing, and really had no plans on going to Lansing, but I just knew that the laws needed to be changed, and so I went into prayer and just said, God, if this is really what you keep waking me up at 3:00 in the morning to do, to think about and strategize on, I need you to put the right people in my path because I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to spell law. I know how to spell lawyer. I know how to spell legislation. I don't know anything about changing a law.
Okay.
And so he, began to put the right people in my path to give me some direction on what I needed to do. And it took 3 years to get the pepper spray law changed, and it was just changed this past April. And so now the state of Michigan can have the 18% pepper spray. And the reason why that was so important to me is because the pepper spray that we carry is not only is it 18%, it also has an ultraviolet dye.
Yes.
It's a red dye that changes the color of the skin, and even when that wears off, if the attacker is put under the black light at a police station, then the skin will still glow. And that way, if you're having trouble identifying your attacker, if they're put under that black light, it's a lot easier to identify them. And, there are so many people who are wrongly convicted in our state, and that means that if they're wrongly convicted, the assailant is still out there. And, so we need to, in my mind, I needed to do whatever I could to help impact that statistic and make Michigan a safer state.
Do you know how long the dye actually stays on the skin, even though it's not visible to the naked eye?
About 72 hours.
Okay.
So the color, the discoloration, can be on for a number of hours, but the actual effects of the ultraviolet ingredient will stay on for up to 72 hours.
Okay. And see, this is what we need to do when we see a problem, is step up and make a change. So for you to do that on your own, and I was really surprised as I read the article that you started off trying to find, someone within the Democratic, legislature to help you, and then they told you to find a Republican. And so then you ended up finding someone up north.
I did. I did. I had never met her,
Yes.
but yeah, it was interesting because at the time our legislative body was controlled by Republicans, and so unfortunately, a lot of things that really are just sensible laws that need to be changed, they still have a partisan you know um,
Yes.
edge to them, so to speak. So, but for me, in order to really work with the legislators, I needed to get beyond party lines and explain why this is important, no matter what party you're affiliated with. It's a law that protects the residents that elected you, and to be able to sit in an office in Lansing. So you need to have their safety and their best interests at heart. And so it's not about your party and what it is that you stand for. It's about the safety of the residents that elected you.
And see, the thing is, I know that there are many of us who know someone who has been attacked, or, well, attacked, beaten. It, it's just, and I know that I personally have.
Wow.
When I was actually back when I was younger and I was pregnant with my son, I was walking my dogs. I was walking my dogs on McNichols where I lived, and well, I'm not gonna say a gentleman, a man came out of the bushes and he grabbed me and he tried to pull me into the bushes, and I was fighting him, my dogs was fighting him, and people continued to drive down 6 Mile as I am heavily pregnant, fighting this grown man, trying to get him away from me, and they just kept driving by. And luckily, I was able to defend myself to where I gouged him in his eyes, and then my dogs were biting him at the same time, and he took off and he ran. My cousin was not as fortunate. I have a cousin who was grabbed and pulled into an abandoned house, and I'm going to leave it at that. But he ended up going to jail for what he did to her. And I know that there were many young ladies who have been grabbed. So the products that you have are needed, because my daughter, when she first started driving, I talked to the police department to find out what she could carry on her person that would be considered legal. Even though things were legal within the state, she couldn't take them into school in her backpack. So, if they can't take it on the bus, they can't take it into school. But yet these girls are walking to the bus stop alone, in the dark to get on the school bus. And then often they're walking home alone from the school bus to get to their homes on their own.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to know, what can we do to protect our girls and help them to protect themselves?
So I will say that the laws in Michigan are, when it comes to personal protection, like the things that we've talked about so far, stun guns and pepper sprays, and we didn't even get into that yet, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But the pepper spray, you do have to be 18 or older in order to legally carry that in Michigan.
Okay.
And be able to use it. But one of the things, if you're under 18, one of the things that I recommend is that you carry an audible alarm. And so a lot of alarms that are on the market now that you can put on your key ring do have a flashlight attached to them, and that's a deterrent to be able to shine that light in an aggressor's eyes and be able to create some distance so that you can flee to safety. The audible alarm is extremely helpful because most of the time when we are caught off guard, and we're attacked, we tend to lose our fine motor skills. We can't scream loud enough. We, can't really think of anything. A lot of times we go into what's called the black zone, where you just freeze, and you have to either freeze or fight. And for me, I choose to fight because my life is worth the fight. And so that's what I tell everyone, is that your life is worth the fight, and if you want to win, you have to at least fight.
Right.
And so with the audible alarm, if you can't scream loud enough, you sound that alarm, and that draws attention to you. It draws attention to the attacker, and it draws the attention of everybody around you, because most of the time the alarms that we hear are car alarms, and those don't necessarily draw attention. People ignore those very easily, but when you hear the audible alarm like what we have with damsel in defense, it's quite different. It's 120 decibels. It's very, very loud. It's annoying, and it doesn't go off until you turn it off.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so that's one thing.
So audible alarms, which can go on the keychain, and
Yes.
that's something that can go inside of the school
Absolutely.
as well. I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. What do you think about that, Janelle?
I think it's good, but like, how is it easy? Is it easy trigger to where, if it's in my backpack or pocket, it could turn on by itself, or?
Not this one, and I'm going to show it real quick. This is the alarm that I was talking about, and I won't sound it because it is very loud. But
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
but and I do have the little plastic thing here, so I'm going to pull it out. I still won't sound it, but I
Okay.
do want you to see.
My engineer is looking like, please don't sound it.
I will not, but I do want
She
you
won't.
to see that flashlight, and
Okay.
I'm just shining
Okay.
it here. But when someone shines light directly in your eyes, it is nearly impossible to see, and it takes a minute for you to be able to focus. And so,
Is the flashlight itself like one of those extremely bright lights when it goes into someone's face, or is it just a regular flashlight?
this one is probably a little more regular.
Okay.
We do have another flashlight that's actually for your car. It's a tool that you keep in your car that is extremely bright. I mean,
That was the one that I saw. I
Yes.
like that tool.
But this one, at least, along with the alarm, and so you were asking if it, easily, will turn on, and it doesn't. You have to actually physically push this, so it won't go off by mistake. There are some alarms out there that will, tend to be easily discharged, and you're fumbling around trying to find the thing and turn it off. But no,
Okay.
not with this.
Okay. And what else do you have? What other goodies do you have in your basket?
Well, so another tool that, again, you have to be 18 to have this. So you've only got
Why?
a year.
Why?
Because it's considered a weapon. But this, and I'll show it here. This is called the Sakatimi Kubaton.
Okay.
And so what this is it's technically a martial arts tool, but instead of lacing keys between your fingers the way we've always been taught to do, and think that a half inch of metal is really going to cause some damage to whoever it is we think we're going to strike. The keys end up going back into the palm of your hand. So chances are you'll feel more pain than the person that you're trying to attack with those keys. But with something like this, you're wrapping your fist around this. So you have complete control of it, and you put your thumb at the top, which gives you extra pressure. And that way, when you are using this with the force of a strike, it's multiplied. And this is solid metal. And so, I'll let you try this out a little later. But usually, what I have people do is just tap the back of their hand like this. And that way, if you just feel how this is feeling, just tapping the bone, you're not tapping when you're using this.
Right.
You're absolutely going to apply some force, and they will comply. And they'll be down on the ground, and you can flee. So that's another thing.
I don't know if you might be looking for another trip back to Lansing.
I am, as a matter of fact,
Because
my
I would
work
think-
isn't done.
Yeah, because in my motherly opinion, once our young ladies reach the age of 16 or reach the age to where they're driving, they should be able to have non-lethal weapons, with them in the cars. And we do need something for our children who are walking to and from school on their own.
I agree.
Once they reach the mentality to where they know how and when to use it. Because, excuse me, I know that I have guests that are gun owners, and yes, I've been a gun supporter since I was in high school on the rifle team, and I feel as if we can give guns to half the people we can give guns to, we should have something that we can give to our children who tend to have more sense than some of those people, so that they can protect themselves coming to and from, because everyone can't be there to walk with their children to and from on a regular basis. You have a lot of 12, 13-year-olds walking alone.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
And it's very frightening for them.
It
you know,
is.
to even realize that someone is following them, which is another topic that we'll get to, which is situational awareness and what to do in those types of situations. But let me go back
Go on.
to the whole
Yes.
Lansing thing. So, like I was saying, my work isn't done.
Okay.
I was able to get the pepper spray bill, passed, but there's still work to be done to move the stun gun bill forward. So that's already been written. For those of you who are gun owners, and I don't, I'm not touching any of that. I have no desire to take away the rights,
No,
for
I
anyone
don't feel as if they should be taken away.
but what I
we
do
need something
want
else.
is to be able to have the choice to protect myself with what feels most comfortable for me. And I want that for all the residents of Michigan, and even those who own guns want something that may be non-lethal, because sometimes a gun is not an appropriate weapon to use, but they want something to deter and to be able to maybe stun and run, like what we say in Damsel in Defense. But it's an opportunity to not necessarily take a life, but to save your own.
Yes.
And so in Michigan, we cannot have stun guns, and a lot of people are confused with stun guns and tasers. And I don't know if the two of you know what the difference. Okay, so
I know the difference.
Okay, so
So,
I'll
do you know the
explain it.
difference?
No,
No.
she doesn't.
Okay.
So the difference between a taser and a stun gun. Tasers are legal in Michigan as long as you have your concealed pistol license and you have the extra training to carry a taser. A taser is actually a projectile weapon, so it fires just like a regular gun would, which means you have to aim at a target. And if you miss your target, with the stun guns that are legal here in Michigan, you can only get one shot, and then you have to reload. And so if you miss your target, then you have to say, hang on, bad person, let me reload and and get this together, and maybe this time when I point and shoot, I'll hit you, and hopefully not someone else. But with a stun gun, I have to physically, or you have to physically touch the person with the stun gun, and that way they feel the electrical shock. It's not going to cause them to fall on the floor and flop around like a fish, like some of the videos I've seen, but it will cause the muscle group to be very confused, and the muscles will not work, and it gives you enough time to be able to flee to safety. And it's not where you are going to miss your target because it's intentional. You're touching them with it. And it also is something that you can use repetitively. So if you can't get away quick enough and they manage to get up and they're still coming after you, you can stun them again. And then, they are now trying to figure out again how to get those muscles to work while you're busy trying to flee to safety, which is the whole point. It's just to flee to safety and to teach the potential assailant that you are a hard target, and they probably should be a little more cautious about who they are targeting, because they don't know who's carrying a stun gun or pepper spray and who's not.
Okay.
So I am working, starting in January, with the new legislators to introduce that bill over again into the system so that I can go up to Lansing and testify and hopefully get the House and the Senate to vote yes, and then it'll go to Governor Whitmer's desk and she'll sign off, and we will have stun guns in Michigan, because I think there are 7 states out of all of the states, and I'll quickly show the little map here.
Okay.
So, I should hold it up here, shouldn't I, instead of at that?
No, that's okay.
Okay, so this is the, let me hold that right. This is the map of
Okay.
the United States. Up. You want me to hold it up? Is that good? Okay. Everything pink. Okay. Everything pink on here, those states get to have everything. Pepper spray, stun guns, everything that the Damsel in Defense offers. The blue states are the ones that are restricted. And as you can see, Michigan is one of the blue states. So we cannot yet. We cannot have the stun guns. But again, I've written the language into the law so that it does make them legal, and that you do not have to have a CPL, because a stun gun is not something that shoots at anybody. So there are no lessons. There's no aiming. There's no target practice, because it's electricity, and there's no practicing with it.
Right. I don't understand why Michigan, of all places, would be against something like that.
Well,
Do you know, has it been has there been just a turn? When did it change, or has it always been like that in Michigan?
I think it's always been like that,
Okay.
with the exception
so
of
no
tasers.
one's challenged it.
Right, and
Okay.
I think that because people think that tasers and stun guns are the same,
Okay.
it's not been challenged until I happen to come on the scene and say, hey, I can't get stun guns here. Why is that? And why do other states why are other states allowed but Michigan is not, and what's fair about that? I think nothing. And so I think there's something that needs to be done so that we codify with the rest of the states, and we're able to have methods of protection that are suitable for all of us, and we should be able to have a choice to
Right.
pick whatever it is that's most comfortable for us. If we can carry a knife, I think we should be able to carry a stun gun.
Right. I agree with you. What do you think, Janelle?
I agree because I looked it up and I've seen one before, so I kind of agree how, at least why is a taser okay but not a stun gun? So
Mm-hmm. Would you want to carry a stun gun, or would you want to carry a taser if given the opportunity?
I rather stun gun because they look smaller than a taser.
Okay.
So I want something that's at least noticeable, or I mean, I don't carry that much stuff, so I wouldn't even have the room for probably a taser.
Mm-hmm.
So where a stun gun, the way that the pictures look like, is something that I could probably just stick in my pocket, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true.
Yes, and I mean you could give fair warning before you shoot.
Absolutely, and you do
You
want to
know,
do that.
yes.
Even with the pepper spray,
Yes.
you want to, let the assailant know, I've got pepper spray.
Yes.
Usually, when you say that, that's the last thing they want is to experience that. And I'll tell you the difference between the 18 and 10%. A lot of people consider mace to be pepper spray. Mace is a brand, and it's 10%. And so that's an irritant, but an 18% pepper spray is an inflammatory. So it's really going to cause things to be inflamed. So you want to go with the eyes, nose, mouth. So you want to do your Z formation when you use it and really paint that skin. And then you want to take it down the shirt and empty that little canister. It's a very small canister. It's usually one application, but you want to take it down the shirt because the next thing that the assailant is going to do is probably grab the shirt and try and wipe off the pepper spray, and you want that assailant to finish the job for you.
Okay, so we have a Z formation. We're doing eyes, nose, mouth, and then we're going to go straight down
the shirt.
to the shirt. Okay.
Yep, just continue the continuous spray.
Continue it until it's gone.
Until it's gone.
Then drop and run.
Yep. Spray and get away.
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat that. So it's a Z formation with a pepper spray. It's eyes, nose, mouth. We're going down the chin to the shirt, and we're going to empty that can, and we're going to take off, because by the time you do that, he or she is going to be grabbing their eyes with their shirt, their hands. They're going to scream, do something, but you're going to want to get away as soon as possible. Don't stand there to see what's going to happen.
Right. You do not need to look at your
Yes.
handiwork.
Yes.
Let the police do that.
Yes, get away. So, yes, I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Okay. What else do you have over there in your goodie bag?
Okay. Well, of course, this is the pepper spray. So just so that you know, that's
Here, they
I
can't
don't know
hear
what I
you.
just dropped,
That's
but
okay.
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 So this is the pepper spray, and it does have the glow-in-the-dark nozzle. It does have a locking applicator so that you can't open it by mistake.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I'm showing it down here. Up here is where I should be showing it. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Let me stop looking at this.
Right there.
So the other thing that is on here, this entire set is my defense keyring set. This is called the keyring bundle. You want to have your protection and your keys separated, if at all possible.
Right.
So this is called the breakaway keyring. This is one of the keyrings that we sell. And so what happens is you have your keys on one end, your protection on the other, and if someone is, coming after you and say, hey, give me those keys, and they want the keys, that snaps apart. It's got a magnet in here. But that way they have the keys, you keep your protection in your hand, and you really want to hold this
Right.
at all times. But
Right.
you want to have your protection in your hand. You don't want them to have your protection to be able to use against you. If they're still coming after you, now you still have something to fight with.
That's a lot of protection to carry.
It is, and you don't have to have it all. I do, though, because I
Okay.
want plan A, B, C, and D. I want
Okay.
all of my plans ready at my fingertips at all times. So if
Okay.
I don't have the benefit of distance when it comes to the pepper spray. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, the pepper spray, damsel in defense pepper spray shoots 16 feet away.
Wow.
Can't speak for other pepper sprays, but I know this shoots 16 feet away, so I have the benefit of distance. And as you know, most of the time your attackers are not attacking you from a distance.
Right.
They're really
not.
kind of up
They're
close,
not.
which
Or
is
but
why.
if they're running towards you, that's
Right.
actually a pretty good
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Defense mechanism to have.
But if they're right up on you,
Yeah.
it's a surprise attack that gets you from behind or whatever. If you have something like this, now you have, something in your hand to really inflict some pain, and you want to go for whatever areas you can to be able to flee to safety and to, get them to release you. And so that's the bag of tricks for the key ring.
Now, see, from back in the day, I would say eyes, throat.
So,
I'm short, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
okay. So I will say that typically you want to go for the neck and below.
Mm-hmm.
Anything above the neck may be considered excessive force. And so you want to be careful about that because there could be some laws that you'd have to contend with. But, if it's a matter of life and death, then, you have
Everything goes.
You need to just be able to defend yourself and defend why it is that you struck, in a particular area.
Right.
And so that's.
And I think because I've been grabbed, I know that once I got my hands loose, I was able to go for the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with the self-defense, where you don't have a weapon,
Right.
you do want to gouge the eyes out. You want to, do the ear clap. You want to do whatever it is that you can do, the palm strike, all those different things. And I know that a lot of people that may be watching this now, you may not know all of these different techniques. I would highly suggest that you get enrolled in some type of self-defense course somewhere.
I'm actually, after reading your information, I said I need to sponsor a self-defense course.
Awesome.
For some of my families, because we need to teach our children how to defend themselves and how to be aware of their surroundings.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely, because, a lot of our younger adults, and they are easily distracted by the cell phone that they're carrying in their hand, and so they're not aware of situations or people that may be watching
coming
them.
up, right, and that's watching them and coming up into their personal space.
That's
because I noticed that when you go to the mall, you see a lot of people, a lot of young people that automatically seem to be comfortable walking into someone's personal space.
And you absolutely want to guard your personal space. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to where their hands are and what their body language is. You want to be able to be the one to interrupt their OODA loop. And if you don't know what the OODA loop is, contact me. I'll tell you all about it. But essentially, you want to be the one in control. You only get 2.6 seconds to respond to someone who may be attacking you. That 2.6 seconds is extremely fast. And so if you only get those 2.6 seconds, you want them to be yours, and you want to be the one that's in control instead of the one that's reacting to, what someone else is doing to you. So,
okay. And you were saying that you wanted to make sure that we covered something else. So what was it that what else are we going to cover here? Because I want to make sure that you get in everything that you want to share.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's one other little product that I have right here.
Yes.
And so this is really, really good, especially for college students, high school students, things like that.
Okay.
This is a regular ink pen. Let me make sure you guys can see it.
Okay.
This is a regular ink pen, but this is called the To Whom It May Concern Tactical Ink Pen. And so when you twist the bottom of the barrel, that exposes your ink, so you can write with it.
Okay.
This is also a striking tool. This is solid aluminum. It's a little heavier than your normal ink pen.
Okay.
It also has a flashlight on it, so you can shine that in an aggressor's eyes and create some distance.
Okay.
The newer version also has a strobe light. So, and with the strobe, that's a light that disorients a person. And then, and I'm going to have you feel the tip of this. I'll have you feel that. See what that feels like. Feel that?
Yeah, it's a little jagged.
It's a jagged edge, and so what that is your DNA collector. That's critical. If you are in a fight for your life and you need to collect some evidence against your attacker, you want to use this end to scrape some skin cells and get your evidence to be able to turn into prosecutors so that you can have evidence to subject your attacker to the full extent of the law.
Okay, I like that.
That's, it's good for anybody that, we all carry ink pens at some point, and we all need to use them at some point. This is something that anybody
That
can carry.
be used.
Yeah.
And then, okay, explain to me again with striking the end.
Oh,
Is
so
that
yes.
one that will actually break? Is that where it will break glass too?
No,
Or
this well, it depends, I guess, on how strong you are. But
Okay.
usually, glass is pretty thick and pretty tempered, so that you can't necessarily break it with this.
Okay.
However, I do have something that does break glass, but it's the flashlight. That,
Did I lose something here? I had a full black screen. Are we still on? Okay. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just trying to make sure because I had a black screen in front of me.
Did your
Okay.
screensaver come on?
No.
Could be Facebook acting up.
Okay.
But everything on my end is still fine.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I like the fact that I like the pen.
Mm-hmm.
And here I'm going to, over here, I want you to take a look at that. Feel the end. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay. Do you think that would be something? Janelle has the pen now. So, Janelle, tell us what your thoughts are. Other than, with it being nice, when the feel of it, is it heavy?
I mean, I did just wake up from a nap, so I'm not quietly like myself yet. So I don't know if it's heavy or not.
No.
But
I don't know with all those nails and everything.
But the end is kind of like you said to connect like DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're fighting against someone and you use that jagged edge end and you scrape some skin, if you're getting their face or their arm or whatever, wherever they have some skin exposed, because of course when they're attacking you, they can't protect everything. They're going to leave some part of themselves exposed, and that's your opportunity to do your damage as well and be able to fight back, because a violent crime, happens every 26 seconds. And I don't know how long we've been talking, but I'm sure it's been more than 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And even in 5 minutes, 11 violent crimes have happened somewhere in this country. Not just a regular crime, but a violent one.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I know that I'm looking at this, and I really like this. Now,
Just click it.
Yep, that little gold button. There you go.
and that's the light.
And and so you just hit me in the eyes with it.
I'm
but
sorry.
No. That's fine.
I didn't strobe you, though, since this one doesn't have a strobe light.
No, that's my original pen that didn't
Yes.
have the strobe feature, but the new ones do. This particular item as well, when you are getting in and out of a car at night, what you can do before you even get in the car is to turn that light on and shine it all around the car, inside the car, all of that, to be able to expose anybody that may be inside
Yes.
or lurking, around, so that you can expose them and know whether or not it's safe enough for you to enter into that vehicle.
And ladies, I hope that you still remember, whenever you get into your vehicle, whether it's locked when you're getting in or not, to look in your back seat before you get into your vehicles. Don't ever feel as if you live in an environment where you don't have to do that, especially when you're at the malls or anything like that. If you see, I know there's something going around Facebook regarding a piece of paper on your back window or your front window. Do not get out to get the paper. Do not open your doors and then get in and set your purse over on the passenger side with the door just open, unlocked, Most cars do have a mechanism to where you press your key fob once, it's going to unlock the driver's side door. You press it twice, it's going to unlock the other door. So get used to unlocking your driver's side door and not unlocking all of the doors unless you have someone else that's going to get in. But again, check around. And if someone comes up to you as you're opening up your door, get yourself ready to defend yourself. And I'm glad that these tools are available and that I've now found out what's legal and what's not legal. And yes, I have told my daughter about putting the key in between her fingers, but not like 4 keys between her fingers. I've always talked to her about the 1 key between her fingers to protect herself, so that way that 1 key is going to stick out much further than trying to have a fistful of keys. So
Absolutely.
I truly appreciate it. And one of the other things that I really liked about Damsel in Distress is
Defense.
I'm determined to say distress.
That's okay.
I'm
Most
giving
people
someone
do.
else, yeah, that's going to be the name of,
We help.
something else coming up. Somebody's going to get out there and say, okay, I got a trademark here.
Actually, we have sweatshirts that say damsel in distress, and then distress is crossed out, and then defense is written underneath. So
Okay,
we have,
okay. See,
but we
so
help
I
those
am
in
correct.
distress.
Yes.
We help those in distress.
Now, I like the fact that you have purses
Yes.
that are
Concealed
for the
carry.
concealed carrier.
Mm-hmm.
That concealed carrier, depending on, unless you live in Michigan or a few other states, can be your stun gun.
Absolutely.
It could be your taser for those who choose
right.
tasers. You can actually put an extra pepper spray inside of there. You can have your striker tool. So there's so much that can be done with this purse, and it's actually quite fashionable as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that you can also do, with a purse, especially one that you can, control the swings, that too can serve as a weapon. And if nothing else, if someone wants the purse, you might take it and throw, instead of them, saying, give me your purse, throw it, throw it towards them. You want to, deflect and do what you can to be able to, distract them, so that then you, again, with that OODA loop, you're in control and they're reacting to you instead of you reacting to them.
I like the pocket on the purse because you could easily, have your hand in the pocket of the purse as you're walking. And if someone does say, give me your purse, as you're pulling your hand out, you can, give them that purse, but still maintain your protection.
That's right.
At the same time. So, and you also have books to help educate our youth.
Yes.
On different ways that they can protect themselves and be more alert of their surroundings too.
Yes,
So
that's our Safe Hearts line. So that's our educational component for parents and children. As we know, a significant number of our children become victims of, particularly of sexual abuse, before the age of 17. And this line that we have created at Damsel in Defense is, it includes a proactive parent guide, which talks about all the different types of situations that you as a parent should be aware of, some signs you should be looking for when it comes to your children, and whether or not they're displaying signs that you need to be aware of regarding someone either touching them inappropriately, saying something inappropriately, or doing something to them. So that goes, the proactive parent guide gives guidance on that. The actual storybooks, and we have 10 of them now. Each one is a different type of situation, but they are storybooks that you write with your child, kind of shoulder-to-shoulder conversations, to be able to have the discussions about body boundaries and about peer pressure and different things like that. One of my favorite stories that's in the book, that's in one of those books, and all of them are just so very touching and so real. When you read them, as a parent, you can actually, kind of recognize some things that may have gone on in your past that you really hadn't thought too much about. But, when you read that story, you're like, I wonder if that's what, really happened. But one is about a young boy who plays baseball, and the coach is a tricky person. And the coach tricks the parent and tells the parent that the son, on this particular day, the son is riding home with a friend. He's going to go home, with a friend and his mom, and so his mom doesn't need to pick him up. Mm-hmm. He then tricks the son and says, your mom said that you can come home with me because I'm going to give you some special lessons on how to pitch properly, because I know you're looking to be an all-star, ball player, and your pitching arm is great, but we need to go to my house so we can practice in my basement. And what you can't do is tell others about, this, because some of the other ball players are going to be jealous, and we can't tell them, about the special lessons that I'm giving you, because, they're special for you, that kind of thing. And so he is really crafty at trying to, lure this kid to be able to come home with him. And so the whole story is just, it's eye-opening for a parent and for a child, because, we tend to trust the coaches that,
Right.
are coaching our children, and we wouldn't think that they would be doing something like that, but the story was very real.
So that goes back to the because that is someone that a child would normally trust.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how many parents are still utilizing those methods of teaching to teach their children and tell their children that it could be someone who you know. It could be aunt and uncle, coach, teacher,
And most of the time it
whoever.
is.
Yes.
Most of the
Yes.
time it is. It's not a stranger. They talk about stranger danger, but that's typically very rare. It's usually a trusted family member or friend.
Yes. So I'm glad that we're talking about this because there's also the passcode, the password.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle and I always had a password and a phrase, a question I would ask her, and how she answered it would let me know if she was okay or not, And those are still things that are good to use
I agree.
on a regular basis. And you don't hear conversation about those things as much as you used to.
That's right.
You used to hear people talk about giving their children a password, having that question, different phrases and things to do. So I'm going to say that parents go back to some of the old school methods of teaching and having a password, a code, a question you can ask your child that only you and that child knows, and let them know not to ever share that information with anyone outside of the home.
That's right.
Because our little ones really need to know that they can come to their parents and talk to their parents and know that they're going to be safe. And I used to ask Janelle the question, even if I thought she was in a safe situation, I would just ask so that she would remember that we
Okay.
had that all set up.
And that's really smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
So,
that.
yeah. I used to get on your nerves, didn't I?
And one of the other things, I know we talked about this already, but with this alarm, hopefully you guys can see it. But with this alarm, this is something that's really good for our young children as well. They can take that, especially if they are going in a public restroom, for
Okay.
instance.
Okay.
And you're not able to go in with them, especially moms, and you have young sons and things like that, and you may not necessarily. The son may feel like, I'm a big boy and I want to go into the men's bathroom by myself, Mom.
Okay, yes.
But strangers are, predators are lurking everywhere. And if they have that alarm with them and they feel uncomfortable in any way when they're in something like, a public restroom, if they sound that alarm, that's going to let you and everybody else in that particular store, grocery store, or mall or wherever, let you know that the child is in danger and that you need to go and help them. Because a lot of times when they are in a situation in a restroom, the first thing that's going to happen is whoever is after them or trying to cause harm will cover their mouth. So that means they can't scream. And you're already a young child, so your voice is not going to be as loud as you would hope. But that alarm is something that a stranger or, not necessarily a stranger, but whoever the assailant is, that's something they wouldn't expect the child to have on them as, when they're coming into the restroom by themselves.
That is true. That would be good to just have clipped on a child's belt buckle as they're going in somewhere
right.
like that. That's
Yeah.
a very good.
So just keep
Good
it on your
thought.
key ring, Mom, Dad. Keep it on your key ring, and when you're with your child, hand it over.
Right. It makes very good sense. Very good sense. I like that.
Thank you.
We're getting a lot of good pointers here because I want to make sure that we protect our babies and moms, dads, aunties, uncles, cousins, brothers, sister, everyone. LoveLogical, biological. You know my thing. Biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice. We are all family, and we need to look out for each other.
Absolutely.
We really do need to look out for each other. So I know that we really don't have much time left here today. So one thing that I would like to say thank you
Thank you.
for you coming on today. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
And if you would please share where you can be reached. Do you have a website?
I do.
Okay. What's your website address?
My website is, people hate when you
Yes.
say www, but, I'm a little
That's
old
all
school.
right. Go for it.
It's personalprotecther.com.
So personalprotecther.
Her. Yes,
.com.
H-E-R.
Okay. All right. You might want to spell it out.
Okay. Personal, Personal, protect, TECTHER, which is her.com. It's all one word.
Okay, and do you have an email address if anyone has a question
It is.
that they would like to send?
It's personalprotecther@gmail.com.
Okay.
Isn't that so convenient?
So personalprotecther@gmail.com if you have any questions, and personalprotecther.com if you would like to look at the products and different things that we've talked about today. And like I said, I think that we should have more personal protection classes going on within the community, because our young ladies need this. And for those of us, I'm going to say us, who are looking for fundraisers, I think that this would be a great fundraiser. And for those of you who are looking to want to see these items and everything in person, then you would definitely get in contact with Rochelle at personalprotecther.com or at gmail.com so that you can see the items. And I know that I have friends that's on the line that's from Atlanta and Florida and just different places. I see Texas. So if you could please share, how can they get in contact the same way?
Mm-hmm.
But would there be any way that they'd be able to see them within their communities?
Yes. So if you are from any of those states, and by the way, those 3 states that you mentioned happen to be pink states.
I know.
They get to have everything.
I know. I'm jealous.
We're working on it, and I do have a call to action, so don't let me forget that.
Okay, we need to go on and do that now because we only got a few minutes
Okay,
left.
so my call to action is, as you heard me mention before, I am working with Lansing with our state legislators to change the law regarding stun guns. And so I need you to write your state rep and your state senator and let them know that you want them to support that law change so that you have the opportunity to select the type of personal protection that is most appropriate for you. And so again, if you need information on what the letter needs to say, if you want to know what the language of the law is and what I've changed it to, reach out to me at personalprotector@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to share whatever information you need. I can help you craft your letter so that it gets the attention of your lawmaker. The person that's representing you in Lansing is the person that's making the decisions on your behalf, and so they need to hear from you. They will hear from me, but it's not as important as hearing from the person that elected them or that they represent.
Okay, and who should they write again?
Their state rep and
Okay.
their state senator, because I need the House and the Senate to both vote yes on this law change so that when it goes to Governor Whitmer's desk, it's completely approved by the legislative body, and it just needs her signature.
Okay. So you heard that. So there is a call to action, and we're asking you to reach out to your state rep and your state senator to let them know that we want to be able to carry stun guns in Michigan. I mean, this is a concealed carry state.
Yes, it is.
And with so many people carrying, I would think that they would want us to carry stun guns in many instances, especially when we have so many people out here that's not comfortable with carrying a gun. You know,
That's right.
that stun gun can still allow you to protect yourself.
And it can help, curb the unfortunate news that we just saw even earlier this week with the young child that got a hold of a gun inside of a home. And, that I'm sure the gun was purchased for protection, but unfortunately it took a life. And, children don't know.
No, they
don't know.
They're
And
innocent.
They think it's a toy. And, that's something that can never be, corrected. That child is gone, and those parents now have to live with that. And,
Yes.
it's so unfortunate. So, and just to get to the last point, you did say for those who are in other states, if you're interested in seeing the products in person, reach out to me. I'll find a damsel in defense rep in your area that will reach out to you, and you'll make arrangements to be able to host a party and get some things for free. You never know.
Okay.
But, yeah, so.
All right. So thank you
Thank you.
for today. Thank you, Janelle. I hope you get some sleep tonight and don't be up studying too late so you can be awake for tomorrow. We're going Christmas caroling tomorrow night. So looking forward to Christmas caroling with my girl boss group.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. Did you happen
I
to
saw
see
that. Yes, I did. I did. She has a
That's so
notebook
funny.
here that says girl boss on it. And I saw that and I kind of chuckled because, yes, I'm going Christmas caroling with the Girl Boss group tomorrow.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. We will not be hosting a show next Tuesday because it is Christmas.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So fa la 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 la. I may be broadcasting this Sunday from downtown Detroit. I will know tomorrow. And if I will be broadcasting from downtown Detroit, I will let you know in advance. But we will continue LoveLogical DNA Not Required Tuesdays. January 1st. I will be here with a special guest to start the year off. And we're going to start the year off right. And you'll find out when you go on Facebook to see who's going to be my guest. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a wonderful evening. And as I said, LoveLogical, DNA Not Required, is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice. And yes, we are all connected. We are all family. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.